So, drinking out of my condiment set, well, sort of. You see, they do provide tea bags, fair trade coffee sachets, but they provide a plastic cup up here, which I don't like to put boiling water in. I'm sure it would hold, but much rather polystyrene. Now, if you go downstairs, you'll find they also have free tea and coffee down there in the communal area, and there they use polystyrene cups, so I took a few. They also have milk down there in the little sort of pots, whereas they don't put it in the rooms. I have no idea why, but there we are. So I took some of them as well. It's bizarre. It's one of those things that, you know, like on the door it says, if you drink anything or eat anything in your room other than water, and you get found out, you have to pay a £10 penalty charge, and then they go ahead and provide you with tea and coffee. Well, surely you're supposed to drink that in your room. No? So anyway, out of a polystyrene cup, it's absolutely fabulous. So this morning I got a nice early start. I was up at 7. Now, the guy had said that the breakfast was from 7, but on the door it says 7 during week times and 7:30 at weekends. So I waited until 7:30 anyway. Now when I went down there it was all set up. So I'm hoping it's going to be like that tomorrow, because I need to get off as soon as possible tomorrow. Even though I did today, you know, there was like half an hour where I waited just in case. So the breakfast room, as they call it, is locked usually, kept under lock and key, because it's very nice. It's probably the nicest area in this building, outside of the little reception area they have. The communal area is nice, but it's sort of like in a sort of sparse, but really old, so one or two big bits of old furniture. But the breakfast room was different. It was quite large. It was lots of modern tables and chairs and stuff. Not much of a range, as you might imagine. There was cereal, or there was sort of like sort of mini croissant things. You did have a toaster and a microwave, but I just had, you know, a few croissants and a bowl of cereal. It's fine. It's nothing fancy, but it's fine for what it is. You know, you wouldn't expect anything else from this place. Let me put it that way. And then I headed off. I headed out, and I decided to put the theory of the number 30 bus to the test. So I caught that, and that was fine. That took me into town. I remembered key pointers because I would have to use that bus on the way back. So, you know, the bus stop, on one side of the road there's an Aldi, and on the other side of the road there's a church. And I knew that as soon as I saw them on the way back, I should press the button, for example. And then there were key sort of things that we passed. So as we go along a straight road, we pass a big cemetery, and then when we get to New Life or Abundant Life Church or something like that, we turn right and we go down a steep hill, and then we turn left at the bottom of that and we go into town, and when we get to the train station it goes sort of up, and that's where I get off. So incidentally, that is where I was going to get on as well, so I found the bus stop as soon as I got off, you know, on the opposite side of the road. Check times, and they're pretty regular there. Gosh, even on Sundays they're sort of 3 times an hour. Sorry, it is absolutely boiling. It's about 25. It's sort of another miniature heat wave. So, you know, I'm melting. But there we are. One thing I did do, and that was forget to take my pills. so I am very tired now. No harm should come from skipping one day. I shall take them again tomorrow, and if anything, I might get cramps tomorrow evening, but chances are I shall be fine, so I'm not too worried. But it does explain why I'm so tired. Anyway, so once I got into town, I had brought with me my trusty map. This is my trusty map that I got here, in fact, from a leaflet, and it's very good. It's very good indeed. And my plan was to sort of start and to work sort of basically clockwise around the city, and then from the south sort of head round. I would first do the west side, then the north, then the east, and then I'd end up at the river. I'd do the quayside, and then probably a river cruise, and then Ousburn, because people had recommended that to me, and then Gateshead, which was across the river to the south. Before coming back, that was my goal, and I managed to do almost everything. The only thing I didn't manage to do was take a photograph of the cathedral after it had gone dark, because the cathedral has a lantern tower, so it lights up, and it's used as a beacon, or has been used as a beacon for ships along the river. But by 9 o'clock, when I wanted to leave, it was still too light for them to turn it on, so I shall have to come in winter. Anyway, so I got off, and the first thing I did, where did I go first? I went to St Marys Roman Catholic Cathedral, and it was open, and I went in, and it said, photography is basically encouraged and we don't charge, feel free to take photos. So I did. It's quite sparse for a Roman Catholic cathedral. Nice and large and airy. And their little cloister bit has been turned sort of into a bookshop, but I didn't go in there. Nice, very nice. So I left that, and then I went. Where did I go? Where did I go? That's a good question. I went. Where did I go? I can't even find where I am on the map now, that's how tired I am. There we are. I headed north, as I said I would, to the west, and what did I come across? I came across the western walls, which is all that's left of the medieval walls around the city. Newcastle is basically a middle-aged sort of city. There was a Roman presence, obviously, because they built Hadrian's Wall through it, through the area at one point, just north of the river, in fact. But where modern day Newcastle is now, it's actually only Middle Ages. It was called Castle Garth in those days, and the reason it's called Newcastle is because Castle Garth, which was a Norman construction, fell into disrepair, so they built a new castle on the same site, in fact, and the name stuck. So there we are. Anyway, I walked around that, and I came to the Chinese Arch, which marks sort of Chinatown. And then what did I do after that? Oh yes, I carried on going north, and I discovered Newcastle United Football Club, and north still of that is Leases Park, with a nice little boating lake. I nearly got lost there, nearly, but not quite. There was a woman that helped me when I was about to turn down the wrong path, and I looked a bit confused, and she said, "Where are you trying to go?" And I said, "To Leases Park," and she said, "It's the other way." So I said, "Oh, thank you very much." The boating lake is lovely. It's man-made, in fact, which it didn't look man-made when I saw it, but it is. I can't remember what they used the soil for, but the man on the boat ride that I went on later told me what they used the soil from the lake for, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is. Anyway, the boating lake was lovely because they have geese and they have swans and they have coots and all sorts. So I was there at, gosh, it must have been about 9:30. I came out on the sort of north side of that because I was going to head north. I was going to sort of head east across the north side, and that's where the Royal Victoria Infirmary is, which is basically the Newcastle Hospital, and it's huge. Okay, so I walked across there. And then I walked through the campus site of Newcastle University, and it's full of very Victorian style buildings, very imposing, very picturesque indeed. You know, sort of red brick almost, designed definitely to sort of say this is a university and people studying here are academics and fantastic. So I enjoyed that. A bit devoid of students on a Saturday, but there we are. I saw the northern stage. I'm not sure what that was. I think it could be some sort of auditorium. And then I visited the most northerly point, and it was called the Great North Museum. It was free, and because it was free, it was very good. You know, you had the stuffed, it was a natural history museum basically, on 2 levels in this big building that was sort of mock classical, because a lot of them were either Victorian or the mock classical style, and went in, started looking around, and you know, they have the big areas, big open rooms with, you know, a stuffed animal in a box, and you sort of walk around, and there's a few little like tableaus with writing on, a bit like that. If I had to have paid, I would have been disappointed, but because it was free, I thought, and there was quite a bit of it as well. There was quite a bit. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. I sort of spent a good half an hour sort of wandering the exhibits. I don't read everything in these sort of museums. I sort of go around and see what takes my fancy, and you know, I stood on the balcony, the upper level, and looked down on all the little people looking at stuffed animals below. Great fun. Anyway, then I headed south and I covered their civic centre, which is in a very bizarre looking building, and it's in a big area full of sort of trees and greenery, and in the middle of it is Church of St Thomas the Martyr. And I went in and had a look around. Lovely dinky little church, and they were obviously doing something at one of the cenotaphs. There's at least 3 cenotaphs there. There's one cenotaph that's in the area of greenery in the civic centre, and it's like a tableau basically. Then there's a little cenotaph in the grounds of the church, which was the one that was being used. Obviously they'd had a church service just before I arrived, and it had ended at their little cenotaph, and there were lots of people in uniform there and stuff. Got there too late to film any of it, or you know, but it was that people were milling around. And then there's a big cenotaph with an angel of victory plopped on top, holding out her laurel wreath, in front of the Haymarket, which is just south of that area. So they're all in that sort of little area. The Haymarket itself, you know, these are throwbacks to the first markets in these sort of cities, and they're generally a sort of circular building, and this was no exception. But the Haymarket has since become a huge shopping district, which basically stretches north to south, between the civic centre and the station at the bottom. And as well as that, there's another big shopping centre called, now what is it, Eldon Square, and that is basically like a sort of square, and in the middle is an old area of greenery, but I'm getting ahead of myself there. So as I was working my way down the High Street, past those from the Haymarket down, I veered off towards the east side of the city,